This is a Bachmann Spectrum 210-2 that I bought for only $100, and today I'm going to go through an entire overview of this thing. So before we get too deep into it, a few details about this thing. It's just your regular Bachmann Spectrum 210-2. The tender on this thing has actually been replaced. This is a Genesis tender, and this locomotive has DCC and sound, although it has a bad speaker. So before that, I do want to detail something else I really like, is that the plug on this thing has been replaced with a slightly different looking one. I'll disconnect the tender and pull it apart so you can see right there. It's this weird-er looking connector, but I've seen these on some other models, so I think it should be pretty high quality. I've seen it on some other models and stuff. I believe it's similar to the plug that my Tyco 040 with DCC has, so I think it should hold up pretty well and should be better than the original Bachmann one. This tender is rather interesting, and this engine was apparently a project that was bought unpainted, as the box says. I've had to modify the box to fit the tender in it, but that is perfectly fine. This engine also still does need numbering, and other than that it's in pretty good shape. I've already put Katie's on it, and I've run this thing a whole bunch. So I don't really have many complaints. I do have one though, and this is a complaint with many Bachmann engines. It's really slow. I have messed with the speed steps and all that, and the fastest I can get this thing to go is a scale 50 miles an hour, which might seem quick, but for the club I'm a part of, that is just barely the top speed that you can run on the layout, which is where a lot of people run. And sometimes it's a little nice to have a bit extra speed. So with Bachmann engines, it's kind of annoying that they can't really go much quicker than that. I don't know why it is, if it's a motor thing or whatnot, but I found this to be a thing with a whole bunch of different Bachmann engines. Something else you'll see once I run this thing later is the headlight on this thing is actually really nice. It's a lot more yellow, so it looks a little bit closer to a steam locomotive's headlight. The rear tender also does have a reversing light that works, which is kind of neat. And overall, this thing seems to be in pretty good shape. It can't really pull all that much. I don't know why. I think its limit is about 12-15 cars, which up a pretty steep grade is not all that terrible, but I would kind of like it to pull more. I am also not entirely sure if I'm going to be keeping this thing, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So with that little introduction out of the way, why don't I go take this thing out and get some clips of it running. This engine was just a little bit of an impulse buy. It was just a thing I bought on a whim, and it was pretty cheap. I don't actually know if I will keep this. It's a decent looking engine, but I've got a whole bunch of engines, so I'm probably getting rid of a whole bunch of my DC engines soon, and we'll see if I keep this one or if I get rid of it. It's okay, I just don't really have a huge need for it, and it isn't anything really special. It does work well with my SP commute cars, which are not in this video, but I think it'll be a decent engine to keep around for a while, and we'll see if I keep this thing long term. So, thanks for watching.